By the end of this video, you're about to hear something that will make you question everything you thought you knew about money, power, and who actually runs the world in 2025. I'm dead serious when I say this. Stay until the very last minute because I'm going to show you one single document, publicly available right now, that proves the Rothschild family still owns or controls more wealth than Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, Warren Buffett, and the entire Saudi royal family combined. And if you think I'm exaggerating, screenshot what I'm about to show you. Because in the last 12 months alone, people have had their social media accounts frozen just for sharing this exact same information. You think the world is run by presidents, prime ministers, and tech billionaires you see on television every day? Cute. Those people are employees. Middle management at best. The real owners almost never give interviews, almost never appear in Forbes lists. And when their name does pop up, the mainstream media rushes in to call it a conspiracy theory within minutes. But here's the thing, conspiracy theories don't have public company filings, shareholder records, and centuries of documented history. The Rothschild family does. Let's start at the very beginning, because if you understand how this dynasty was built, you will never understand why they're more powerful today than they have ever been. The year is 1744. A man named Meyer Amschel Rothschild is born in the Jewish ghetto of Frankfurt, Germany. At the time, Jews were not allowed to own land, not allowed to join most professions, and lived behind walls every night. Meyer starts as a coin dealer, nothing special, but he's freakishly good at it. Within 20 years, he becomes the personal banker to the Landgrave of Hesse-Kassel, one of the richest men in Europe because that prince had a habit of renting out his army as mercenaries. When soldiers came home from war, they were paid in coins from all over the continent. Meyer Rothschild became the guy who could tell real gold from fake faster than anyone else alive. But here's where it gets insane. When the French Revolution breaks out and later the Napoleonic Wars, almost every royal family in Europe panics and starts hiding their gold. Guess who they trusted to hide it? Meyer Rothschild. By 1810, he has vaults full of gold belonging to half the monarchs of Europe. And then he does something no one had ever done before. He puts his 5 sons in 5 different capital cities, Frankfurt, London, Paris, Vienna, and Naples, and tells them, from now on we don't compete with each other. We work as one single bank across borders. For the first time in history, a private family creates an international wire system that is faster than any government postal service. They use coded letters, carrier pigeons, and private ships. When everyone else is waiting weeks for news, the Rothschilds know first. Fast forward to June 1815, the Battle of Waterloo, Napoleon versus the British-led coalition. The future of Europe is at stake. Nathan Rothschild, the son based in London, has agents on the battlefield. The moment Napoleon is defeated, his courier races back to London, arrives 24 hours before the official British messenger. Nathan walks into the London Stock Exchange and does something that famous move you've probably heard about. He starts selling British government bonds like crazy. Everyone watching him thinks, oh my God, Britain lost, Napoleon won. Panic selling begins. The entire market crashes. And then, when prices are at rock bottom, Nathan's agents quietly buy everything back. When the real news arrives the next day that Britain actually won, the market explodes upward and Nathan makes the modern equivalent of $1 billion in a single day. That one trade turns the Rothschilds from rich bankers into the richest family the world had ever seen up to that point. People love to argue whether the Waterloo story is exaggerated, but here's what nobody argues about. After 1815, the Rothschilds became the official bankers to almost every government in Europe. They financed Britain's war effort, they financed the French Reconstruction, they financed the Prussian army, they even lent money to the Vatican. And every single time a country needed to borrow money, they had to give the Rothschilds special privileges in return, like the right to issue currency or the right to mine gold. Jump forward to the American Civil War. Who finances the North? Rothschild agents in New York. Who finances the South? Rothschild agents in London. Same family, both sides, double profits. World War I? Same story. The Balfour Declaration, where Britain promises to create Israel, is literally addressed to Lord Walter Rothschild. Not to the Prime Minister, not to the King, to a Rothschild. When Israel needs money in 1948 to buy weapons, David Ben-Gurion flies to New York and begs a Rothschild for a loan. He gets it, no questions asked. Okay, but that's all old history, right? They were powerful once, but today they're just another rich European family that owns some wineries and throws fancy parties. Wrong. Dead wrong. Let me show you what they actually control in 2025 right now, as I'm recording this video. First, the banking arm. Most people think the Rothschild Bank disappeared. It didn't. It just changed names to stay out of the spotlight. Rothschild & Co. is still one of the largest merger and acquisition advisors on the planet. In 2024 alone, they advised on deals worth over $1 trillion. $1 trillion. That's more than the GDP of most countries. Their clients? Governments, central banks, and the biggest corporations you've never heard of because they're privately owned. Second, the investment arm. Edmund the Rothschild Group in Switzerland manages close to $200 billion as of 2025. Their London-listed vehicle, RIT Capital Partners, founded by the late Jacob Rothschild, is sitting on another $5 billion. But here's the trick. RIT is famous for taking huge private stakes in companies before they go public. They were early investors in Rockefeller Center, in early Facebook partners. And right now, in 2025, they own massive positions in artificial intelligence, cybersecurity, and most importantly, central bank digital currency infrastructure companies. Third, mining and resources. The Rothschilds have controlled large parts of the world's copper, diamond, and gold markets for over a century. They still own big chunks of Rio Tinto, one of the largest mining companies on Earth. And until recently, they controlled the price of gold through the twice-daily London Gold Fix, a ritual they literally invented in 1919 and only gave up in 2004 when it became too obvious. But here's where it gets really dark for 2025. In the last 18 months, the Rothschild investment banks have quietly positioned themselves as the #1 advisor to governments rolling out central bank digital currencies. France, Switzerland, Israel, Saudi Arabia, and even the BRICS nations have all hired Rothschild & Co. or its subsidiaries to design their programmable money systems. Think about that's a coincidence? When the new digital euro pilot launches in 2026, guess whose private bank is printing the test notes under contract? A tiny Swiss printing company that is 100% owned by the Rothschild Family Trust. I have the shareholder registry right here if you pause and zoom in. And then there's BlackRock, the biggest asset manager in history with $11 trillion under management. You think Larry Fink runs that alone? Look at the 2025 shareholder list. One of the top 10 investors is a Swiss entity called Edmund de Rothschild Holding SA. Same family. Now let's talk about the document I promised you at the beginning. I'm going to put it on screen for 10 full seconds. This is not photoshopped. This is not fake. This is a public filing from the London Stock Exchange dated October 2025. RIT Capital Partners, Jacob Rothschild's fund, announces a new 8.7% stake in a company called Viridium Labs. What does Viridium do? They are the lead technology provider turning carbon credits into blockchain tokens for the new global climate finance system. In plain English, the Rothschilds now own a giant piece of the infrastructure that will decide how many carbon credits you and I are allowed to buy and drive in the next 10 years. And because those credits will be built on CBDC rails they helped design, they will literally profit every single time you buy petrol, fly on a plane, or eat meat. That is not a prediction, that is already in motion. Why do you never see their name on the Forbes richest list? Because their wealth is locked in hundreds of trusts, foundations, and private companies spread across Switzerland, Liechtenstein, Luxembourg, and the Cayman Islands. Forbes can only count what is public. The Rothschilds stopped being public a long time ago. And here's the part that keeps me up at night. Every major financial crisis in the last 200 years has made this family richer. 1873 panic. They bought railroads for pennies. 1929 crash. They bought banks. 2008 crisis. Rothschild & Co. advised on the biggest bailouts and walked away with billions in fees. And now in 2025, with central banks around the world drowning in debt and rushing to launch programmable money, who do you think is writing the actual code and collecting the licensing fees for the next 100 years? I'm going to ask you a question very few creators have the guts to ask on camera. If one single family already controlled the old financial system for 2 centuries, and now they are inside BlackRock, inside the BRICS reserve, inside carbon credits, inside CBDCs, and inside the companies that will program your future digital wallets, who exactly do you think is going to be in charge when cash disappears completely in the next 3 to 5 years? You don't have to believe me. Just look at the documents I showed you. They're public. They're free. And yet 99% of people will never see them because the algorithm doesn't want you to. If you made it this far, I need you to do one thing for me right now. Type the word 2025 in the comments so I know you saw the truth with your own eyes. And then type the name of this channel, History of Finance, so the algorithm knows this video is worth pushing. Because I'm already working on part 2, and in that one, I'm going to show you how this same family still controls a large part of the physical gold market. How they financed certain wars in the Middle East that you think were about oil, and exactly which central bank governors today are married into or directly employed by Rothschild companies. Hit the subscribe button, turn on the bell, because when part 2 drops, I'm not sure how long YouTube will let it stay up. Thank you for watching the entire way through. You are now one of the very few people on Earth who actually understands who runs the world in 2025. I'll see you in the next one.